Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. If you don't know me, my name is Duhamel Bentley, and baby, get ready because in today's video, we're about to get real wild. Today we're going to be talking about the latest launch from Huda Beauty, and it's literally the Small Obsessions, or what is it called? Yeah. Well, the Small Obsessions, they're smaller. They're not Small Obsessions, but in this particular one, it's the Wild Obsessions. And you can get in any retailer 3 options, which is the Jaguar, the Chameleon, and you can also get the Python. That name is so cool, but I don't want to say hate because she's an animal. However, I just really dislike reptiles and snakes and things like that. I'm just like, girl, they're just not my vibe. However, these palettes are very much so my vibe. As you could see in the intro, we definitely did 3 different looks. I wanted to dedicate a look per palette. Of course, if you guys want to see more of an in-depth or maybe something that's a little bit more wearable looks created here, that's why I did this look today, which I'll be taking you guys step by step on how to create this with the Wild Chameleon palette. Such beautiful packaging. We'll get into swatches in a second here, but I do want to show you the 3 options, which is, again, you have the Chameleon, you have the Python, which is honestly such a beautiful palette, but again, I'm just not the biggest fan of snakes. And we have the Jaguar, which to me, Jaguars are just iconic. I remember in my house when I was younger, for some reason, we had on top of like our couch in the main area of like watching TV, I guess a family room, we had a Jaguar, which was a little weird. We had like this huge painting of a Jaguar, but at the same time, they're majestic, they're beautiful, so you don't question it, you just admire it, right? So let's talk a little bit about what's going on here today. So as you could see in the little bit of intro, I have created 1 look individually per palette, and the first 2 looks that I want to show you are heavily inspired. I don't want to say I copied them because I definitely added a little bit of my flair. I let my wild creativity go out and do its thing. And I was just heavily inspired. I felt like I want to elevate my artistry and I want to be able to present to you guys maybe avant-garde options, right? Because we know we can look Gorgina George, but can we look like alien-esque and gorgeous? Now that's a question that I want some answers to, right? So I went ahead and I did a single look for Jaguar. I went ahead and did a single look for Python. And then I also created this look, which we have today with the Chameleon. I am so excited. Now these guys are very on the go. They're not heavy whatsoever. It's great plastic. I'm so happy that they elevated the actual imagery of this. I'm not the biggest fan of this material here, just because it gives me like the worst teeth ache. I'm like, oh. However, girl, just don't scratch it. Like, you know, it's just, it is what it is. Now, all of them have a little bit of a monochrome moment. You can definitely see there's some what is it? Like some print, and then if you switch it around, it's more of like silk on top of it. I love the color selection of that one in particular. Same with the chameleon one. Just like so cute. You know, there's almost like this one right here reminds me of like the background of a phone for some reason, but I love it. I absolutely do. And then we have the python, which is just so seductress and so beautiful. I'm like, girl, I need to reevaluate my love for reptiles, right? Opening up the python one, I love the color selection. I think it's great for someone who loves greens or is getting into greens. You have a good selection of greens here. You definitely have a great variety of outside tones, like for example, this yellow. You can definitely go in a little bit more with the coral. There's definitely a lot of opportunity here to do several looks. It's not just like a palette where you're like, well, I can only create this. There's definitely a lot of avenues that you can go here. So I'm really excited. Another plus that these palettes have are the actual prints. It's a 3D print of what I think to be a python skin, which to me just elevates the system. It looks incredible. I'm really excited to now have these because I feel like there's nothing like it in the market, at least with the stamping. And it just, as a collector of makeup, I am excited not only for the quality, but also the imagery. And I think that these guys, they're just so cute. And you know, they just go right to the point. Now this is a 9 shadow pan. It is $29, depending on where you are going. Tax can differentiate. If you do shop through hudabeauty.com, you are able to get a little extra, and we'll discuss that later on the video. Let me go ahead and swatch the python. Let's start off with the first row here. Now these are all mattes in the first row. So this is the first row here. Now, as you can see, it looks like a yellow, this first one here, but it's more of like this grasshopper green. It's, well, what did I say, grasshopper green? I don't know. It's like an interesting lime green. Now, normally Huda Beauty shadow formula is really creamy. These guys were very creamy, very easy to work with. I didn't have any issues whatsoever. So again, just the formula continues to evaluate and to elevate, which makes me really excited because of course, you know, we always want something that's better, something that's going to be more luxurious, easier to work with. And I had no trouble, even creating the crazy looks, I had no trouble whatsoever working and creating looks with this, which is so fabulous because there's nothing worse than buying a palette you're so excited to try. And before you know it, you're like, oh, I can't use it. I can't work with it. I just don't feel happy. With these guys, you will not run into that issue whatsoever. So let me take this first swatch off and let's go on to the next row. Now, before moving on to the next row, I just wanted to point out that this guy is very intense, very pigmented, and it's not only very intense in the actual pan, it also transfers really intensely to your lid, and I absolutely had a blast working with this one in particular, because a lot of the times you're like, is it really gonna be that intense? It's gonna show on the face or on the eye or on the skin the way it looks here, and honestly, I kind of think it gives another life and it gives a different vibrancy, so I'm all about it. It works really nicely. Now that is the second row. The first shade that I have here, it's going to be the actual Python formula, or it's not Python formula, but you know, the Python printed formula. And as you can see here, they're very rich, very opaque, most definitely perform equally, if not better, as they are swatching. A little tip and a little trick that I have with this one is go very lightly with a little fluffy brush to go on top of your cheekbones. Girl. It is so iconic. It's so beautiful. It just looks wet and iridescent and green and just like swamp monster. Who? Girl, literally the vibes. Let me take these off and let's go on to the next row. This is the third and final row here. As you can see, these are all incredibly gorgeous metallic shimmers. They're just like glass wet looking type of highlighters or, you know, toppers. And these guys are my favorite formula. Now, if you guys know me, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of blue shadow. Actually, we've done very little blue shadows in this channel. So if you're looking for a blue shadow tutorial, let me know, honey, so I can upgrade the system because we only have very few, but I love this blue. It's just so gorgeous. It reminds me of like some type of water body, or I guess it should be better terms as a body of water in the Amazon. And it's just so gorgeous. I feel like it's iconic. It's honestly one of my favorite green palettes that I personally own. And I'm not just saying that because I paid for it. I do really, really like it. So let's go on to the next palette. Let me take these off and let's swatch that one. All right, so the next palette we are swatching is Jaguar. Again, it's just iconic. I absolutely love it. I feel like this is the most moody palette that they launched. She's very, how can I say this? She's like dark, but like at the same time, just very mauvey, very cool tone. I absolutely loved the color selection. If I had to pick and choose one, girl, I'm gonna have such a hard time picking and choosing, but for whatever reason, just looking at this, I'm like mesmerized, right? So let's start with the first swatches. All right, so this is the first row here. This one's a little translucent on my skin because it's very similar to my skin tone, but you can kind of catch it there differential on the texture and the undertone. This is a very interesting shimmer. It has like this beautiful iridescence of like lavender, but it has like this gorgeous darkness to it. Iconic. I absolutely loved it. I feel like it's incredible for different types of looks. It really can elevate a matte look by creating intensity, but also like very, very soft. I'm just really excited, as you can see, about it. This black, girl. This black is where it's at. I mean, I'm not trying to play you. Do you see how creamy this black is? My hands are clean. They are dry. I made sure to leave them nice and dry. And this is just like jaw-dropping. It's one of the creamiest blacks I literally have in my collection. So if you are someone who's like, I have some colors, I have some blacks, but they're just not like that delicious, juicy, like black, this is it right here, girl. Like, look no further. I am not playing around. Let me take this one off and let's go on to the next row. So this is the second row here. Now this middle shade here is the actual python print on here. I'm really excited to see if maybe they'll launch like a dragon palette or something that they can create more textures. I've actually always wanted these acrylic nails that are like black, long AF with that python print on top of them. And then I've always wanted to coat them. I just have never, number one, like looked, and I've never pursued it enough for me to do it. But I've always wanted it to like seal with this like cosmic iridescent, like green, maybe like blue finish. Oh, that was gonna be so iconic. I'm not even joking. Let me take these off and let's go on to the next one. The third row here. Again, this is such a gorgeous, moody palette. I love the gold, and I think this is such a unique tone. I have nothing like it. Also, this gray here is just really complimentary on all skin types, and I love it. I just honestly, I think Jaguar is like my love child. I'm just putting it out there. I really enjoyed Jaguar. So let me remove this one and let's go to the last palette that I have here, and that's gonna be the Chameleon. So this is the Chameleon up close, and I think that besides the Jaguar, like I can't pick and choose. Oh my goodness, but if I had to, this would be like on a really colorful, fresh type of day. This would be literally my only option. I love this blue kind of purple tone. I didn't use it today because I wanted to create something that was just very wearable and very beautiful, that you could feel it on every occasion of the day. And I absolutely loved how this turned out. But it's one of my favorite shades, this guy right here. Let's start swatching. Okay, so this is the first row here. Iconic and beautiful tones. Now this tone right here is the actual stamped tone on the palette, so the python print. And they're just so reflective, so gorgeous. I am, again, at odd. This palettes, these guys right here, these little palettes here, they have done everything but disappoint. Like, they have surprised me, mesmerized me. Like, they've put me on like, oh my God, but disappoint me, they haven't. And I'm really excited about that because, hello, if we're spending the money that we're spending, $29 plus tax, like, I don't expect anything less, but I'm very pleasantly surprised when they work iconically, but also the colors look beautiful and unexpected, which is another thing that I love about Huda Beauty as well. It's like you just really don't know what the actual color will look like. You may have an idea, but a lot of the times they do swirls, and we'll check a color in here that is actually like, that's a little swirl, and you just don't know until you swatch it, touch it, play with it. This is the second row here, and this metallic in the center is so creamy, you guys. It almost feels like butter when you touch it. It's so reflective, so effortless. I absolutely love it. Just this row on itself can create a beautiful, beautiful fall, warm, delicious look. So let me remove this one and let's go to the last row. Okay, so this is the third and final row. Interesting fact is that they have a very, very similar plum tone that they have in Mercury retrograde. Now, the Mercury retrograde is much cooler. This is definitely a lot warmer, but what I'm trying to get to is that these plum type of tones usually are very patchy, very difficult to work with, and this one did not. It worked like a dream. It built up really, really nicely. You'll see it. We take you on a step-by-step journey on how to create the look that we have going on today. Now, I've got to be honest, and I can't. This shade on the top here is the one that's like swirly and different, and it's so beautiful. It's monochrome. Like, when you work with it, it's multi-shifting. Like, it has like in person, like a rose gold bronze, but then it turns a little bit berry. It's just very, very interesting. I absolutely love the shade. It's one of my favorite shades in this particular palette. You know, every single palette, in my opinion, has something to offer you, if not literally all 9 colors to offer you and have you fall in love with them. All right, you guys, well, my face is done, it's set. I have prepped it adequately for a full day of makeup wearing. I'm really, really excited because I had an opportunity to really think about this video and say, what do I want to do? How would I want to do it? And I really wanted to give its own palette a moment. And as you guys saw in the intro, it was a lot of fun, and I had never created anything like the first 2 heavily inspired looks from the actual Wild collection. But for first timer, I feel like I got pretty wild. I'm just putting it out there, honey. So if you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of this wild craziness that's going on in this channel, honey. Because sometimes I myself don't even know what's gonna come in here. And when it comes, I'm like, oh, hi, welcome, right? So I've touched on pretty much all of the palettes that I have except for the chameleon. I am so excited. This is just so much fun. I was a little upset with the brand for a little while. I personally don't shop from hudabeauty.com because I had a negative experience where the team just didn't rectify. They didn't acknowledge me. I had to go through hell and back to get an answer, and I'm still awaiting that. And this all began in, what was it, January? And girl, we are in August. So it's been a very long road and it's been very disappointing. However, I have my bandana on, and of course, as you know, that means I'm doing a review, honey, and that's what I want to present to you guys. But I don't shop at hudabeauty.com. I got these, you know, in other retailers. I do have them in Sephora. But The cool thing is about hudabeauty.com is that for 10 extra dollars, you get a liquid liner and you get this beautiful red animal print fanny pack. And it's so beautiful. I almost wish I would have gotten it at Huda Beauty because really for 10 extra dollars, you're getting beautiful merch and you're also getting that liquid liner. So if you haven't purchased these yet and you're looking at reviews and saying, what do I do? I would recommend you to get it at hudabeauty.com, but be aware because if you don't receive the package or if it's broken or if anything like this happens, they're just not going to pay attention to you. So it's at your own risk. If you do purchase it in Sephora, they do have just single palettes. And, if anything goes wrong, if it's broken, if it's missing a shadow, God knows, whatever might happen, they'll be able to replace it for you, return your money, or do whatever policy they have. So let's get started with this Wild Chameleon palette. So to start, I want to base the eye with the center shade, which is the lightest shade here. I'm going to be using the Sonia Kashuk brush. This is the large eyeshadow brush. You can use it for packing. You can use it for packing and blending. As you can see here, very pigmented right off the bat. All right, so now that I have placed the color on my lids, as you can see, this is a very vibrant color just with this, and I feel like some good blending, maybe an eyeliner, good lashes, of course, I think you'll be set to go. However, I do want to try my best to give you guys a review utilizing the most shades out of the actual palette. And I'm really curious to try this bottom shade here because typically those plum shades are usually very difficult to work with. So I'm excited to see because I know she had a similar shade. I think it's a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit more purple in the Mercury Retrograde video, which I made when the palette kind of came out. And that was really difficult to work with. And I didn't enjoy it the most. I've noticed with other palettes as well, that it's something that it kind of feels very natural to the color, very similar to the purple. It might be because of purple base, but all of the plum tones that I've used, they're very difficult to work with. Sometimes they're very patchy or very difficult to blend. So I'm really excited to try it out and see if this guy will be great or if he'll be just like within the family, right? So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna start building up a little bit of pigment with this corner tone here. I want to start going on my crease, making sure I'm softening the color that we have just laid on there, but also enhancing and building it with a complementary tone. All right, so now that I have placed and buffed out and kind of blown up a little bit more the color, I'm gonna go in with the next shade that is gonna be this baby girl right here. And I'm going to intensify the crease a little bit more. So it's a very nice gradient. Okay, so as you can see here, there's starting to become an intensity. Everything is building nicely. We're still not focusing on the outer edge here. So if there's a harsh line here, don't freak out, don't stress over it because, we're still at the beginning stages. We're just building color at the same time blending it. So far, I've had nothing but pleasant experiences with the blending, the quality of the shadows, and this is nothing new to the brand, at least within my experience. So if you've ever been like, should I try? I'm just not sure. I don't like the price point. It is definitely an investment. A lot of the Huda Beauty products are a little bit more elevated, if not a lot compared to other products that might be, drugstore or even in the same Sephora. There's more affordable options. However, you will never regret a purchase from the Huda Beauty collection. I have never regretted a purchase, and I'm very meticulous and very particular on how I spend my money. And at first I was like, oh, Oh, but then when I started seeing the quality, and I've just become a fan of the brand. So let's continue this on. I want to kind of hop into the, I'm nervous about this one, but I want to hop into I'm going to be recycling this brush because of course, you know, we're going at it little by little, and I feel like it's going to be working really well. Now that we've intensified the crease, what I want to do is I want to start kind of packing the actual burgundy plumish tone. I'm going to start stretching it just a little bit out. Okay, so as you can see here, the intensity continues to build. This allows your eyes to kind of focus in the case of like if you're doing a soft matte, in this case, you know, with continuous blending and building of the product, this will continue to concentrate and create a beautiful shape for your eye that elongates the eye as well as it opens the eye. Because let's say, for example, if you wanted to use the darkest around the eyelid, that won't necessarily look bad. It won't look bad at all. However, if you want to elongate your eyes and open them up, you want to play a little bit with textures as well with intensities of color. And I want kind of the focus to be right around the center here. And I think that this is looking really nice so far. Even though I was a little nervous to use this, I think it's building up really, really well. And it's not looking patchy. It's very intense, but also it's been very easy to work with so far. There's no harsh lines within the placement, and I'm really excited because I'm not going to lie to you, baby. I was a little nervous. So let's continue. I'm so confused on what kind of shimmer I want to use. I love this purple. It looks so beautiful, but I also feel like I want to hop between these two guys here. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Okay, so now that I'm pretty happy with the placement of the colors, I'm gonna grab this brush here. This is a Morphe M461. At first I was like, this is gonna be amazing for blending, but then it didn't work exactly for how blendful I wanted things. It's not as full. It's a little bit longer. The fullness is more concentrated towards the bottom. So how I like to use these, it's either to soften things like nose baking, contouring, things like so, or, which this, love her for that. I like to grab pigment and then just start sweeping things out. And what that essentially will do is soften that line, which a lot of the times just really takes that little bit of effort to soften that outer line to go from like cute makeup to like this looks incredible on you, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a little bit of the lightest shade in here. I'm gonna hop it between the bottom shade, which is this more tangerine, and then the more cream yamish type of tone. And I'm just softly touching both of them, focusing a little bit more on the lightest one, because I do want pigment and I do want color, but I do want it to be very soft. Okay, so as you can see here, I did one eye, and you still have the shape. Like if you look in the front, you see how my eye is still going elevated, but you see the difference between how this is sharp, which having a sharp wing necessarily doesn't mean it's not well blended, but like, you know, this is just like softer and it creates more of that beautiful illusion. Of course, I still have to apply blush on my skin and kind of continue to build from there. But I want to create that very soft, very natural illusion of my eyes kind of lifting a little bit more without this harsh line here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start blending the outer edge, and I'm going to start turning it almost into my contour. I promise you, this is so intimidating, but at the same time, it's so rewarding once you're done. It takes a little bit of practice, and it really is a matter of believing in yourself and saying, okay, let's make this work. It's just makeup. It doesn't look iconic. It's all right. We can remove it after our rampage and then come back and do it, right? At maybe that time or some other time. So once you're happy with your blending, what I want to do is I want to create almost like a gradient. This particular color here is very true to its packaging. It's the most chameleonic, if that's even a term, shade on here. Once you have it on and you start kind of swishing it around a little bit, it goes from like a pink to like a golden to like a shimmer. It's just really, really beautiful. So I'm going to go with the golden. I want to create a very soft crease. I was thinking to cut my crease, but I just don't want to seem repetitive. I know like in a lot of these videos, I cut my crease, I do a half cut crease, but it's because I want to try my best to show you as many of the colors in my eyes as I can. But I almost kind of just want to do it a little bit more organic. I want to just go there and then soften it out. And I want to start kind of blending it out with the more chameleonic shade on here. I am honestly loving how this is looking. I think it's very sultry, very warm. Now, I did use two different brushes from the same line. This is Morphe. They don't have a kind of number or name. However, if this helps, they're just a nice little flat, small brush. And this is a synthetic kind of gummy brush. If I'm very honest with you, this is the first time that I'm using a gummy brush to apply my glitter, and love this so much more for initial application than this. But I do want to combine them because I want to make it as intense as I can. So for intensity, what I am going to do is I'm grabbing my Evian natural mineral water. You don't have to use this. You can use your primer, water, you can use whatever you have. But I just have this in my hand, so I'm just giving it a quick little spritz. You know, making sure she's nice and wet right here, right now. Happy with the placement of the glitter. I think this is so beautiful, so monochrome that I am obsessed. This is literally the chameleon moment, and I am transforming into like a more polished version of the Bentley. And what I want to do now is, just so the underneath plum tone doesn't get lost, I'm gonna grab a little bit of the plum and a little bit of the brown, again, to ensure that we are using as much of the palette as we can, but more focused on the plum and just reinforcing back the little corner here that we had, you know, mama's placed. Now, hopping back into my little blending brush here, these little baby steps just, again, make the most nice difference. My best piece of advice as well is try to move your head, you know, check out the feeling, the vibe. I'm all about moving my head when it comes down to, you know, checking the angle, how the light hits it, like what's going on. You have to, like, it just makes the best difference. I'm grabbing this brush here and I'm just softening things up. Okay, so I'm pretty happy how this is looking. I'm kind of shook because I don't normally do gold on my lids, but this is just so beautiful and so just like rich and warm that I could not give into not using these guys. I had to use them. So what I think I want to do, because we're going in for such a warm kind of like earthy type of vibe, I want to do a brown liquid liner, and I'm going to be utilizing Lash Benefit liquid liner. This is very, very, very rich in pigment and it goes on very, very quickly. Super cute packaging, but I'm going to be utilizing this guy. It is in shade brown, and I don't know if I want to extend a wing. Maybe I'll do a little baby wing, but you know, we're gonna make sure that happens right here, right now. All right, so the eyes are lined. Once I put my lashes on, I'll check and see if I want to stretch out the wing a little bit more. I want to hop into the bottom lash. I want to be able to show you guys right on camera how to apply or what we're doing to apply. I think I want to go a little bit rogue. I want to utilize this shade right here as a base, and I think I'm gonna go and add a little bit of this shimmer just to create more intensity and more sultriness to the eye look. However, we'll see how this pans out, of course. Now going in with a very small fluffy brush, this is a Makeup Shack T63. I love this brush because it's very fluffy, but it's also very small. So I love it to go in and work some details. In this case, what I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna go in with mixing the lightest shade and the more peachier shade and softening out the bottom lash line. So what I'm going to do next, I am skipping out on the bottom iridescence because I feel like we have a beautiful chameleon moment going on here, and I don't want it to be too overwhelming. I am going to go in with my Tarte Yellow. This is easy on the eyes. This is a liner, and I'm going to go in my waterline because I feel like it's just going to amberize the eyes a little bit more because this is a very amber-esque kind of look. So now that I have done my waterline, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a very sharp brush like this, and I'm going to utilize the darkest shade, which is the brown here, and I'm just going to create a little bit of emphasis. Using the same brush, I am going to grab the dark shade again. I'm just going to extend the wing a little bit. Okay, so I think this eyeshadow look is pretty much done. Let me do my eyebrows, put my lashes on, and let me be right back. Before we further the conversation and the details of these products here, I want to share with you guys, because I know a lot of the times you guys are like, what lip combo do you have on? And sometimes I forget to talk about it, but not today, baby. Today is not the day we forgot. So in today's lip combo, I have both, well, actually all Jeffree Star products on the lips. I have as a base Family Jewels, which is this shade right here. And then I centered beautifully. They just work so well. Like, I have no issues ever with Jeffree Star Cosmetics products, in particular the lip products are probably like one of my favorite lip products in the market. Now on the center I have Nathan. To top it off, I just added a little bit on the center of my lips of the gloss, and this is in shade Silk Rope, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I feel like it's very like yes, all right. Now like I was saying with the Huda Beauty, now it's a 9 shadow palette, which I think it's sufficient for you to create several looks where you feel like you're not just forced into like one particular look or one particular feel. Now they have one extra and it's called Tiger. Now Tiger's a little bit more focused on like those neutrals, you know, the gorgeous like everyday looks. Something that made me really, really excited to support this particular launch is that not only was there diversity within the actual campaign is stunning, number one. Number two, they have a guy, which is so exciting. It's so refreshing. I am so ready to start seeing that diversity, that acceptance within all brands of beauty, because at the end of the day, like myself and many, many other sea of male in beauty or male in makeup, they want to be represented. They want to make sure that they are not only just told like, we love you, we support you, but we want to see that love and that support, right? So it really made me really happy to see that Tiger was being promoted, with a gentleman, which was just so exciting. Also, there was a beautiful Asian woman in the campaign as well. So the diversity to me is just like not an option at this point. It's like it has to be that way. We all want to be seen and we all want to be represented in the most beautiful way. So I'm really excited. I'm really proud to actually stand by this collection because, in my opinion, I've seen Huda Beauty shift. At first, it was very generic, right, with its campaigns. She is a woman of diversity and culture herself, and within other campaigns that they've launched. But I think like now it's where they're really cranking the gear and they're really hitting towards that like no judgment, like we're here to celebrate you, the way you look, and we want to enhance your beauty however way you want to enhance it. So I really love that, and I'm really excited to be able to share this with you guys because again, it's 2021 and it shouldn't be an excuse that we now know it's time. If you don't know, I want you to know that makeup has literally no size, no gender. It is made to make you feel incredible. And I didn't realize that. I didn't know that because I come from a household where I'm told like pink is for girls. There are also a lot of stigmas, and till this day, I come from a household where there's a lot of chains on these people, and I've been so lucky to break free from them and to be able to sit in front of you guys here and not only, show you a thing or two, but also talk and be your friend and you be mine. And I'm excited to be able to say, proudly, we're moving forward. Like, enough is enough with just ignorance. I'm really excited about this, as you can tell. So all of these palettes here are cruelty free, which is so nice because, they are kind of targeted towards the animals. Like again, it's chameleon, panther, jaguar, well not panther, but jaguar, python, and tiger. I said panther thinking that I was python. Girl, let me get it together. Now, in these formulas, I wrote this down, they have several formulas, but the predominant formulas in here are the suede soft mattes, which again, we saw that in the swatches. The metallics, they have the sparkly metallics and then they have the foiled metallics. Incredible formulas for both of them. And they also have a semi-sheer formula, which is incredible as an accent, as a topper. You can use it as a highlighter. So definitely, once you get to play with them, you'll be able to really admire the formulas up close, the textures and how they wear, how they perform. And I love how this palette worked out for me. I've got to be very clear and very honest with you guys. I think these guys are worth the value, worth the while. I absolutely loved all three of the ones that I was able to get my hands in. The Python, absolutely love this one. The Chameleon, which is the one we're wearing today, so beautiful. And the Jaguar, which is, I just don't have words to express how happy I am that they're continuing to launch different things that are very beautiful and very enticing. I absolutely had an amazing time with you guys working these reviews. We worked so adamantly to ensure that you guys got some good information in here because we want to make sure that not only we're killing the looks, but we're also killing the information. I don't have words to say other than that this has been a wild experience. I absolutely loved and continue to love the Huda Beauty launches. I heard there's a new palette coming out, which I'm like, really, girl? We just spend so much money on these guys. But I'm excited to see what they're gonna bring. If you guys want me to check that out, leave it in the comment down below. While you're at it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us immensely to continue to be able to purchase these products, because we do purchase these with our own money. This is an independent channel, and we love being able to bring, with our hard-earned money, these guys to you so you can make, a accommodated, educated decision and say, okay, well, I can definitely do this and I love this look, I can recreate it. Overall, I had an incredible experience. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps us immensely. We are so grateful for all of your guys' support, your help, your comments. I am just so overwhelmed with joy when I see you guys reaching out to us. We're here for you. That's literally why we do all of these videos. We launch a video every single day, whether it's beauty related, whether it's skincare related, whether it's food, unboxings, hauls, empties. Like, we do so many different categories in here. So girl, I'm sure that if you scroll through the list, you'll find something, maybe a little bit of everything for you. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Share this with anybody who you think might enjoy this kind of crazy content. For someone that might be looking into getting into makeup and they're like unsure, honey, this is the place. The Dufe house, it is the house. So make sure to hit the thumbs up, notification bell so you don't miss any of the craziness. And you're already at it, girl. Binge watch. It's a thing. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.